The Jed Wallace audio, I I didn't think I was going to make a post about it just because I was like, but here's the thing. There are some people that are prematurely celebrating. This means Blake Lively won. And that's just not the case. I wish that's how court worked. I wish that's how the law worked. When there's two simultaneous cases open and ongoing, that when one thing happens in a case, it automatically transfers and applies to the other court case. But that's just not how the legal world works. If you don't know what I'm talking about, yesterday there was audio leaked of Jed Wallace. He, in this voice note, I'm assuming, he's saying they're trying to set up, it has to do with the Rebel Wilson case. I think her name is Rachel Ghost. All I know is her last name is Ghost. And Jed Wallace is talking about making allegations against her in order to make her look bad for whatever reason. I have no idea. I don't even know what's happening with the Rebel Wilson case. That's how little I've paid attention to it. I didn't even know it was still ongoing. So he basically is saying, like, we can't just call her a bitch. It has to be something really bad, something much worse. And he's pitching the idea of starting a website to make these allegations of what she's done or is doing, making them sound much worse than they actually are. The names Melissa Nathan come up and Brian Friedman, and people are prematurely celebrating. Like, that's it, case closed for Blake. She wins because it proves that this is what Wayfarer has done in this case. And again, I'm so sorry, but that's not the way court works. That's not the way the law and legal world works. Perhaps if it did, we might see more justice in terms of bad faith characters getting guilty verdicts. We might see more civil cases get more liable verdicts, so that, or not verdicts, whatever, outcomes, so that people who make these claims actually get the justice they deserve. But the way our legal system works, it does not mean that two court cases communicate. It does not mean that two court cases open at the same time influence the other, unless they are working together. All of the evidence and everything is all submitted within the same discovery period. But here's the thing. To my knowledge, the discovery period is over, and there's been no requests for any of that to be submitted to this discovery period, which means that audio, unless it makes it into the docket for whatever reason, even if it did, apples and oranges. I do not see anything that Jed Wallace was saying translating directly to the It Ends With Us case. Because It Ends With Us case, there's no requests for a website to be made. There's no talk about making up any allegations. Because here's the thing. When I experienced my own situation, I had to live off of the knowledge and understanding that a smear campaign is not rooted in truth. Because when something is rooted in truth, it's no longer a smear campaign. You're simply stating facts. You cannot smear a person with facts. If these are things that factually happened and things they factually did or things that they factually said, that is no longer a smear campaign. You are simply reporting on history and the truth. A smear campaign is something that is completely made up, completely false, has nothing to do with the truth or reality of a person or a situation. I don't see any of that happening with Baldoni or Wayfarer. Everything that happened within the so-called smear campaign is all stuff that Blake actually said and Blake actually did. It was just people pulling up her own past. That is not a smear campaign. Whether Brian Friedman, Melissa Nathan, or Jed Wallace actually did what Jed Wallace is saying in that voice note, It doesn't do anything to change the course of the case with Baldoni, Wayfarer, and Lively. It's asinine to think that anybody would believe that this is an open and shut situation with Baldoni proving that he engaged in a smear campaign. There's no website that he wanted to create. There's the only thing that happened during August of 2024 is that people talked about prior statements and events that Blake said and engaged in. That's not a smear campaign.